This edition of UpsideDownDrafting.com is brought to you by Little Tile. Little Tile Incorporated, your online source to hundreds of pool tiles, glass, and mosaics by any major brand at well below retail prices, installation and repairs. This is nationwide, folks. Call the number on the screen, 714-701-0362. Ask for Frank. I'm telling you, it's world-class service, excellent product. And this is the time of year where it starts to wrap up before winter. Go get it done. Go get that project done. Call Frank at Little Tile. All right, let's get into Week 8 waivers. Here we go. Take a look at the waiver wire gems. I'm Johnny B. This is UpsideDownDrafting.com. Welcome again as we take a look at the waiver wire nuggets. This is Week 8. I've moved to 7-0. I still got some players playing on Monday night, but my lead is enough to where I'm going to get the win no matter what. I'm doing it with Danny Woodhead, folks, T.Y. Hilton, Travis Kelce. There's some guys on my team that are really coming up, even on the bye weeks. How am I doing it beyond that? Well, I'm picking up some waiver wire nuggets. We talk about them every week. Let's scroll down. For those of you that have been following, I'm not perfect. I'm not an expert here on all things, right? I mean, there's some running backs that I thought would actually emerge that haven't, and that's Niall Davis for Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, the Shark. Charkandrick West, who I wasn't really high on. He got in the end zone, and maybe he's the guy. I'm not giving up on Niall yet, but we move on because here's what we were talking about last week. I had you go get Kyrie Robinson of the Saints. Again, I had a sneaky feeling about this guy. I love the way he runs. He's a smooth glider, hits the hole well. I think even Drew Brees likes his style and has no problem handing it off to this guy. I get it. Mark Ingram's the guy and C.J. Spiller over there in the Saints, but don't forget about Kyrie Robinson. He's got some nice matchups coming up, and hey, he got in the end zone twice against Indy, and so it was a good matchup, and guess what? Everybody now is going to want this guy. I think he's going to be all over the news and all over the website, so last week we talked about him along with Stephon Diggs, who, let's just hang on for 1 second. I know this kid's a stud, but let me just caution all of you out there. I'm not telling you to pump the brakes exactly, but Stephon Diggs, I'm just a little worried now that defensive and press coverage type are going to put the hit on this guy. And I'm worried about him crossing the middle in Minnesota. Teddy Bridgewater, that maybe leads him into a buzzsaw. Gosh, I'm not trying to put any bad karma on this guy. I hope he does well. I am a little worried about a guy like this getting injured simply because of some of the routes he will eventually have to run. Hey, if he's the wheels and the fast guy on the outside all day long, that's awesome, man. That would be really cool if he's the guy, but I think they're eventually going to have him run some routes where he's going to have to go over the middle, and I'm not sure how bulky he is and can he take a hit. So that's all I'll say with Stephon Diggs. He is a stud. I think Teddy's really got a good relationship with him, and if you got him last week, then good for you, because not a lot of people did, believe it or not. Not a lot of people have seen him on the radar like we have, but again, just another guy out there. One other guy I touched on briefly, right, because I told you I was running out of tight ends last week, but Ladarius Green had a nice week. Obviously, Antonio Gates' knee, right? This is very different than an ankle, and I'm worried about Gates because of the knee. I haven't really seen a lot of knee injuries with a guy like Gates. Antonio really set, I think, Ladarius up on a platter here because Ladarius Green knows all the routes. He knows how to run it. Phillip Rivers hits him. Yada, yada, yada. I say no more. If you got him last week, good for you because I will be starting him next week in conjunction with some of the other tight ends I have to choose from. So great pick there if you did get him. Let's move to Week 8 because that's what you're tuning in here for. Alfred Blue, okay? Why do I have some asterisks around his name? Here's the thing, and he's the feature back, and I get it. He's leading right now a committee of different runners. You got Grimes, okay, and you even got Chris Polk. Here's the problem. Here's why I have asterisks on Alfred Blue. He's the tallest midget of the group. Is that really what you want for a run schedule right now that he plays Tennessee, who I think is nasty? I don't like Tennessee against running backs. He's got a bye, okay? Houston has a bye. Then they play Cincinnati, the New York Jets, they play the Saints, and then Buffalo, another tough run defense. All the way down to, I guess if you use this guy all the way, assuming that you would, and again, I'm not. I'm a little cautious on Alfred Blue and the whole running Houston attack right now. So if you make it all the way to Week 15, that's great. You get Indy, and then you get the Titans again in your Super Bowl for fantasy football. Look, folks, he's a running back 3. I put him on the list just because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that need a running back, and he's the only guy I can think of right now, okay? But again, he's super committee, so be cautious. Don't go all in on this guy. Waiver budget, be careful if you still have any left, right, on those Fabby dollars. Nate Washington, another Houston player I'll mention. This guy's, an old stud. I think he lit up a prevent defense and defined the term trash time minutes, right? We don't paint pictures. I talk about it every week. They just want to know what you shot in golf, right? Well, this guy had 9 receptions, 127 yards, and 2 tugs. And tugs are translations 4 touchdowns, man. And this guy, right now, Cecil Shorts is his only competition. We've always known Nate to be a good receiver, and every now and then he breaks out. He's very sneaky at times. It's just hard to predict. So if you're in need of that wide receiver, go get him. But you got to remember, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the feature of that offense, and so maybe Nate Washington can slip in, get some more looks, get some more, big gashes. But I wouldn't count on him every week, because here's a guy who can go huge for you, and then the next week he's only going to get 6 or 7 points. So cautious there, as you look at that. Tight ends this week, Clive Walford. So Oakland, right? Here's the thing. 2 receptions, 42 yards. He had a touchdown. Here's what's happening in Oakland. Carr, the quarterback, is throwing some shallow routes, right, across the middle, or even the underneath toss to Michael Crabtree, okay? Well, what does that do? Well, that means Amari Cooper can be left one-on-one on the outside. He can go deep, or he can do the post pattern, which leaves the tight end. Well, I thought it was Rivera. No, it's turning out to be this guy. So Walford is no secret, okay? He's been on radars for some. There's maybe some guys in your league never heard of this guy, didn't even watch the game. But I'm just putting him on here because I think right now in Oakland, with matchups and who they got down the line, this could be a pretty good pick if you're in need of tight end. Again, we already talked about Ladarius Green, so if you already had him, I'd put him head and shoulders above this guy. But again, if you're in a deeper league and you need a guy, look for him. Defensive-wise, Minnesota. I had my eye on Minnesota last week. In fact, I was going to actually start him over the Steelers, and then I changed my mind because I really thought the Steelers could get after it. But I think with the Bears here, they know each other very well. This could go one of 2 ways, where it's a shootout because they know each other so well, or they know each other so well that Minnesota can just shut down the Bears. So again, that's kind of my Week 8 opinion. Again, I'm in first place. That's just my deal here. So, and I know I've got some questions like, how is a team like mine doing so well? And again, I'm doing the best I can with what I have, right? The draft is just a starting point. It's just a toolbox that everybody has the same hammer or screwdriver or the same nails, same tools, right? It's just, when do you use these things, right? So T.Y. went bonkers for me, right? I didn't play Peyton Manning. I played Carson Palmer, who's actually going to play tonight. Doesn't matter because I have enough of a lead to make it. Travis Kelce did well for me. Again, last show I already mentioned Joique Bell, not even on my team anymore, although he is on some radar here or there, but I still like Theo better. Bennett was on the bye. I don't have Trey Mason anymore. I have some of these other cats that I've showed you on the waiver. Shane Vereen did okay. Woodhead was a star. I mean, that guy lit it up. We're talking PPR here, folks. It just dominated for me this week. Bolden, Jenkins, not on my team anymore. And then Niall Davis, Stevie Johnson, who I actually saved on my bench and now put back. So there you have it. There's my team that I drafted. If you look back, still have the best kicker in football. I put the Panthers kicker in this week, and then I play IDP, so I got some really good cats on that. Again, preach this again, man. It's all about your draft, 57%, but then what happens, right? You got your injury, 3%. Gosh, I might have to edit that this year because the injury is so high. But let's just say in a perfect world, 50% is your draft, 3% is your injury. And then you got 40% in-season management. That's what we're in right now. So I encourage you to play that waiver wire, hit it hard, and go out there and get it. And start looking at matchups now for playoffs if you've done well enough to get there. If you're not and you're middle of the pack kind of guy, pretty soon we're going to have have-nots and we're going to have haves. And there's 2 camps. Whichever side of the fence you're on, you got to figure it out. And the only way to do that by is the waiver wire. So I hope you're spending your time. I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, I'm Johnny B from UpsideDownDrafting.com. Thanks for tuning in again, and we'll see you guys on the next show. And just appreciate all the support and likes and subscribers. So thanks, guys. I'll do another show next week. If there's anything shaking this week, I'll probably throw a Friday one out there as well. Okay, be good. Talk to you later. See ya.